and then I'll record that. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'll go ahead and mute you now and pin my thing. Yay! Aloha, everyone. It's Kamaile with Wellness with Mana again on this beautiful Wednesday here in Hawaii. And I'm so happy to continue to share and to show up. Oh, there's Lea Aloha right now. So, and I come, with my heart open, and also with all of my knowledge from my Hawaiian healing background as I share why I really am passionate about the power of nutrigenomics and really what we're calling activating our body's ability to heal itself from an internal point of view versus the basis of which we've all been geared to know, which is supplementation. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in my slide presentation today. So I'll hopefully break it down for you in some layman's terms to understand why this technology that we have our hands on is just so unique and so powerful, and really changing the lives and the health outcome for many. And when I first went to go and listen to this information, I literally had my arms crossed. I was like, I'm a Hawaiian health practitioner. I already know. I practice herbal medicines and herbal remedies. I'm well researched in my supplements that I have in my cupboard, if I'm not already growing them in my own personal garden. And so, I had been hearing about some of the ingredients that really make up the synergy that we're about to learn about. And I was just really closed off. I was like, no, you can't tell me anything. But what I did need to do was I needed a break from the family. And I went out to actually go and just, get away, have kind of a, go with the girls that invited me, have a little girls' night and have some wine. And I listened. And then I sat at the back of the room, very skeptical about what I was about to hear, because most of us are, right? We're like, I don't need another health regimen. I don't need to be told another something, another, snake oil or magical pill, talking about snakes, MH. I saw your post. But when I started to actually hear the science behind it, I was like, wow, okay, now I'm listening. I'm leaning in. You got me hooked. And so I want to learn a little bit more. And that's why I really dove into understanding and taking responsibility myself to understand the power of all of this. And I read testimony after testimony after testimony. Then I read peer review after peer review after peer review. And I dove in. I tried to tear this apart in many ways that I could. And all I kept finding was some really powerful herbs. And what I call, it's almost like the world is starting to really recognize, that one love policy. We have indigenous cultural medicinal uses that are coming together, but the way that they're synergistically blended together are truly helping us, no matter what color, no matter what, indigenous, mindset that you have practiced and adopted throughout the years. They're healing us at a cellular level, which in essence, we're all quite wired the same. Our responses are the same. However, our unique thumbprint on how we actually, live our lives according to some of the things that we take into our bodies, into our minds, into our mindsets. All of these things affect our chemical responses. So you're uniquely you, but when I can tell you that we can turn on those little switches again to make you more of the vibrancy that you were designed to be, it is hands down transformational. It has been in my life and as well as others. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now and stop blabbing. And 1 second. Let me just pull this up again. There we go. All right. 1 more second, sorry. Okay, so let me just get rid of that. And so I was going to start off, with a little bit of a story, and I think I still will. And outside of that story of really, you know, getting to know all of this, you guys, I was kind of on my hands and knees, if you will, praying for something to change my world. I was a new mom. I still was breastfeeding. I was giving him, you know, all of what I had, you know, physically making within me, you know, back to the baby, as well as because I had chosen to actually step away from my entrepreneurial profession. And prior, you know, I was kind of bankrupt financially. So I was making sure that the baby got all the good food, you know, as well as, you know, all the love and attention. And so I feel like I was emotionally and physically bankrupt as well. And there was definitely an emotional, you know, component to that, because my, my relationship was also failing at the time because of so many different stresses in our lives and so many different news. And what I knew to be the saving grace, that is, if I could make my mind happy and healthy again, then I could make better choices for myself and get myself out, because I knew the power of my mind. I just got to speak at the university at one of the classes, and we were talking about mindset, and it's truly been a passion of mine for all of these years, especially as a Hawaiian health practitioner. And knowing and understanding nutrition, you realize that your gut microbiome is actually your second mind and plays a huge part in this. So that's part of my journey, and that's truly where I still hold a lot of my passion. We have another call that our friend Susan does on just the gut microbiome, which is fascinating. If you can make it to that, we have that once a month. But my whole, you know, premise of, you know, coming from a Hawaiian healing background is exactly this. This is like my mantra: let's build wellness rather than treating disease. And who wouldn't want that? I mean, I know that most of us could agree that healthcare is expensive. Even if you have great coverage, it's still expensive in the long run if we're not taking care of our bodies. So this is where LifeVantage really came into my world. And so I get so proud to actually say that I, along with many others that that I joined hands with today, that has invited you to hear this information, linked arms with this company called LifeVantage. And the reason why we did is because we have been at the forefront of nutrigenomics for a really long time. So for, gosh, going on 12 years now this summer, we have been selling in this fashion where it's direct sales, it's network marketing, and everybody gets cringes and goes, oh no, not network marketing. However, listen to the science. The business is not for everybody. Of course, you know, it makes complete sense if you're business minded and looking for a solution financially as well, like I was on my hands and knees praying for. However, the science behind this is really where technology is taking us on the health front, and our doctors are becoming aware of it. Major organizations are becoming aware of it, and I'm about to share all of that. So nutrigenomics just really is the study of nutrients, you know, coming together with natural occurring compounds and the way that they actually affect our cellular behavior. We can actually, through the power of we've known as epigenetics, right? We've known that we can actually make choices for ourselves to change our outcome in many, many different ways. So I won't get into all of that, but we are going to get into the 3 theories of aging. And this is really where LifeVantage started. So instead of it starting, you know, as a company who wanted to come up with this amazing product to sell, you know, in this type of industry, it was actually the other way around. It started in a lab with laboratory, with research and scientists. Dr. McCord actually came out with this, and he studied with his team of doctors a way to try to combat one of the theories of aging. And he knew that aging was severely related to what's known as oxidative stress. And so he went to town. He actually did research for a couple decades, I think for about 25 years, if I'm not mistaken, trying to find certain pathways. He came up short over and over again in the pharmaceutical world, ended up partnering with Ayurvedic doctors, found the magical solution that's now patented and bottled into our Protandim NRF2 synergizer, I should say. And from then, our company has taken that, that whole concept of actually talking directly to our cells and activating our cells, which is like turning on that light switch within the cellular behavior, like I was talking about, into different pathways. So we're accessing and expanding our ability to do that health-wise, and really expanding our awareness of how we age and how we can actually age not only more gracefully, but in better health. And then also, we're truly an anti-aging company. We're trying to combat the signs of aging, especially with in regards to illness. So let's dive into this. I like to share this because this is our world today. You know, I don't have to say much. You know, we're still dealing with the pandemic. We're exhausted. We're overworked. We're not eating well. You know, too much, you know, financial stresses are certainly at the top of everybody's mind, most definitely within the last couple of years. So this is the state of the world. And the reason why I say this is because whether or not we actually give thought to it or not, all of these low-lying levels of stress or high stresses in our lives, but it's a lot of times the low-lying levels of stress that are actually the silent killers that are affecting ourselves, whether or not we know it or not. So this is basically a visual representation of the first theory of aging that we're going to cover today, which is oxidative stress, like I was talking about. So just like this car is rusting in the forest here, probably not going to run. This is exactly what's happening to us on a cellular level. So for those of you that actually do well with reading, this is a statement that says oxidative stress is an imbalance between the production of free radicals and the numerous daily assaults and exposures that we're exposed to, and our body's inability to actually detoxify those. So the balance becomes out of whack. Interesting enough, that actually it starts to become out of whack when we're like 20, you guys. We start to actually age and start to actually decline in our health from the ripe old age of 20. That's just crazy to think about. What happens though is our bodies start to see an imbalance. So we normally produce our own antioxidants to combat free radicals. We'll look at that in a second. But the tips, it starts to tip the scale, and we're not able to be in front of our health as much as we'd like to. So here's a great visual for a representation of oxidative stress. We're looking at a gorgeous apple. That's our God-given cell. It works well. It's functioning well as where it's supposed to be. We leave it on the counter, this apple. We cut it in half. It literally takes about a couple of seconds, maybe a couple of minutes to start to turn brown. That's what's called oxidation. So what's happening on a cellular level is that those oxygen molecules actually become mispaired. Those are now known as free radicals. Those free radicals start to try and pair up with our cells, but start to damage the integrity of the cell and start to actually harm, you can see the shape of the cell. So guess what? They start to go cattywonker. What we don't want to happen is the demise of this cell right here, which is, you know, leading to greater illnesses and diseases showing up in our society. Ones that are cognitive, MS, you know, Alzheimer's. There's definitely cancer when they start to split off. I mean, so many different things. So when we can actually take the cell, that's our goal, is back to this healthier state of being. That's exactly what Dr. McCord and his Ayurvedic team of Ayurvedic doctors were researching. So as a nutrigenomics coach and as somebody who might be healthy and into their health, you might already know and understand this. Like, hey, and we have a lot of nutritionists. We actually have over 3,000 medical professionals in LifeVantage that have linked arms with us because they understood this. They actually thought that this was the end all, diet, nutrition. Some thought that juicing was the end all for them. Obviously, we're going to want to consume foods that are rich in proteins and amino acids, high in antioxidants. That's going to help to combat that. Cruciferous foods, our kales, our broccolis, sulfur-rich foods, obviously. And that all helps to activate the pathway that I'm about to talk about. But guess what? It's just not enough. And I'm going to show you why. So antioxidants, when researchers and scientists really truly dove into how much we would need to combat, get this, the 300 sextillion amount of free radicals that we are being bombarded with daily, you guys, daily, we would need something in the tune of these statistics here at the bottom. And so we are seeing that it's just not enough. And I don't even think these, 89 glasses of red wine, 375 oranges, blah, 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 can even touch the 300 sextillion amounts of free radicals that we're dealing with daily. So I like to show this slide because it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So here's an example. We are told to take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, for our antioxidants, in the supplement world. Okay. But if you look at this 1-to-1 ratio, it's like putting out, combating 1,000 free radicals. When we're dealing with that huge number, it's literally like putting out a blazing fire of inflammation going on in our body, which is often known as, the telltale signs of something's going on, right? That's not happy in our body. It's like putting that blazing fire of inflammation out with a little Dixie cup of water. That's what we're doing nutritionally. That's what we're doing with our supplements. And get this, that's only if our gut microbiome is set up and is healthy and happy, right? 86% of us are walking around with unhealthy guts. I think it's 86% of us are walking around with a leaky gut syndrome. So you can see that how nutrition doesn't necessarily always equate to the effects that we want to have on sometimes our ailing bodies or things that we're affected with environmentally. So that's why we look at now activation versus that supplementation. So I get excited about this. Okay, little yellow pill. I'm such a visual person, as you can see. Little yellow pill represented here with this yellow dot. Imagine that instead of going in the back door like nutrition does or supplementation does, instead of going in that back door, hoping that our guts are healthy, it goes straight and is activating this pathway straight. It's like a little highway straight to the cell. The cell recognizes it, lets it in, flips on that light switch that is starting to dim over time, and that's called aging. We're combating that aging effect. That truly is the switch. And when we switch on this NRF2 switch in our cellular behavior, we start to upregulate and downregulate our genetic expressions, over 500 genetic expressions. And so this is what it is proven to do. It lowers our oxidative stress that we talked about, that rusting of the cell, that rusting of the insides by 40% within 30 days, up to 70% within 120 days, and who knows much more. Look at the ingredients though. This is why I was telling you guys, I was like, oh, I got this. I understand this. I already take this. Turmeric, growing it in my garden. Milk thistle, had it in my cupboard. Green tea, I took it every now and again. Bacopa, didn't know what that was. Ashwagandha, I was definitely adding that into my smoothies and my baby smoothies every day because I was trying to combat, the mood and the swings and the this and the that. There was just like, I was drowning. So when I started taking this, what happened was, for me, my plantar fasciitis, went away, and that was right around like 2.5 months. The pain, the inflammation went down because I've reduced my oxidative stress. What it's doing in our bodies, the synergistic blend that I talked about, see, these normally start to affect, the ability to actually reduce that stress in our body. But when blended all together, Dr. McCord figured out it's 1,800 times more effective. So we have the chance and the ability to talk directly to that cell because of that activation process. So that's what's exciting. But what it activates, that NRF2 pathway, is it activates our own ability, our body's ability to make our own antioxidants at the tune of 1 million antioxidants per second per cell. So, oh my goodness, we actually finally have a fighting chance to combat that 300 sextillion amounts of free radicals, right? The reason why it's doing that is because at the top tier of our antioxidant production, we see that glutathione is increased by 300%, catalase is by 54%, and superoxide dismutase by 30%. Those are our master antioxidants look up glutathione deficiency. It is scary how many illnesses and diseases are actually, and infertility is actually related to glutathione deficiency in a whole. In fact, they have glutathione shots, but we can take glutathione. We're just not going to be able to absorb and actually hold on to it. What we want to do is actually stimulate our body's ability in our factory to make our own, and then that way it's actually sustainable within our systems, you know, all of our systems. So excited to share about Protandim NRF2. That's our flagship product. This is alarming, you guys. And I always ask this question to everyone. Take a look at the symptoms on the right-hand side: ADHD, hypertension, fibromyalgia, Lyme disease. Oh my goodness, I meet so many people with Lyme disease. Any of these, I bet you that I could ask you to point out at least 1 to 5 people that you immediately know within your circles of influence and friends that aren't already suffering with the symptoms that are related to these. And when we can show you that when you Google on PubMed, that's PUBMED.gov, you can actually find, I think somebody needs to mute themselves, that you can actually go in there. This is where our doctors go now, to PubMed.gov to find, that's our National Institute of Health's library, basically. When you can go there and find and type in any of these with oxidative stress, you will find hundreds of thousands of articles that are relating oxidative stress as the root cause of over 250 illnesses and diseases. There's many thousands of studies, I should say, that are relating this to it. So you can kind of put the correlation together. We have a product that reduces oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is the root cause of many of these illnesses and diseases, even just down to, you know, joint pain, you know, fibromyalgia, that type of thing. You can see the correlation of how that would help our body and give our bodies the tools that it needs to actually combat these symptoms. So here, talking about PubMed.gov, here is all of the institutions, well, not all of them, but most of them that have actually, when they heard Dr. McCord's, you know, coming out, and get this, the reason why he came out is because John Quinones, do you remember this show, ABC Primetime Report? He actually went in to debunk Dr. McCord and his claims that he had found what he was saying, like the fountain of youth, if you will. And he went in to debunk the company, came out getting his own blood and test results to show that they had reduced his blood, his oxidative stress by 45% within 2 weeks. So it ended up being a national just phenomenon about, this was back in 2005, about, you know, the information that Dr. McCord had come. So in lieu of that, all of these institutes and universities started to actually do their own research on our flagship product, on Protandim, not the ingredients, on our flagship product. And that is what so impressed me that night that I went to go and listen. We have 26 peer-reviewed studies that are up on PubMed.gov. We have 31 in total that are among other publications. And we have others that are pending based on the Tri-Synergizer that we're about to go into. So we are backed by some, you know, pretty amazing papers is what they call them. So please reach out if you have any more information. I can surely help you with this. Okay, so let's quickly just talk about now when we activate what's called the NRF1 pathway. When we go in and flip on that switch, what happens? So what happens there is basically they've known for years mitochondria is actually, I love this slide right here, it's actually 95% of our body's energy. It's basically the engine block of each and every one of our cells. Without our mitochondria, we'd be dead within 30 seconds to a minute. So when they started to actually realize that they can access, again, through activation, through all natural products, okay, and the synergy between them, they realize that they can actually help the production of mitochondria, which it keeps reproducing itself, express itself at a higher vibrancy, back to where we were feeling, you know, before we started, you know, the aging process again at the age of 20. So guess what? When we're healing better, because our cells are actually performing better and functioning better, and that's one of the benefits of mitochondria is our cellular repair. When we're healing better, that means our bodies at night are not doing all of that healing, and we're actually sleeping better. This is huge. It was huge for me when I slept for 6 hours for the first time. Now I'm up to 7, 8 hours solid almost every night. So, you know, I almost panicked that, you know, the things were going to go wrong with the baby if I had slept for that long. But cellular repair, sleep quality, cognitive, brain health, circulatory, and cardiovascular systems, these are all really amazing. And we have a call called Heart to Heart, where you can hear people's real life stories once a month. Please, again, get back to the person that invited you, and we'll direct you to that Zoom call. It's amazing. And then lastly, we're going to talk about NAD. So this is kind of new on the scene. Researchers and scientists also have been looking at this approach to aging for, gosh, decades now. Again, Dr. David Sinclair, he's the author of Lifespan. He has no affiliation with our company. However, when he took his research and science into the field of really trying to understand why we age, you know, approaching another theory of aging, he started looking at actually caloric restriction. So based off of the evidence that intermittent fasting was obviously, you know, of huge benefit to our bodies and all of our organs and systems, right? Took it a little step further, caloric restriction, 500 to 800 calories per day for really long periods of time. What they found out was not only was it a miserable existence and nobody, you know, could withstand that, but what happened was our body went into the boo, 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 fight or flight response system. Started actually, they noticed that this NAD within the cellular structure started to increase. What it did was it fed a family of what we know as sirtuins or proteins. They get this is on an interview that he did, basically dumbing it down, but they can go into the cell, pull apart the strand of DNA, fix what's defunct, put it all back together, and then vacuum out the outside of the cell and send it on its merry way, as if, you know, as if it was a brand new cell again. That whole process is called autophagy. And again, we are the only company that I know that is doing it, not only all naturally, but get this, we're doing it again, all naturally, but we're doing it where we are the only ones that are saying it can prove clinically that our product actually increases NAD production by 100% within 24 hours. There are others that are, you know, trying to compete, and it can take, they claim anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks in order for the NAD production to really start to be noticeable, to make changes. So here we are again, mental focus, concentration, mood and motivation. That's huge with this pandemic. Mental and anxiety is huge. Physical energy and obviously cholesterol levels are really shifted to the positive when we see this process of autophagy happening. So that basically, you guys, is our Tri-Synergizer. This is us. We are a biohacking company, anti-aging at its finest. And we are taking health seriously. You can see we don't have a lot of products. We're actually coming out with some more, which I'm excited about. But we don't have a lot of products, but they are powerful. So today we talked about the anti-aging trifecta. We did talk a little bit about gut health, and I love our gut health products. Again, we have a call devoted to that if you want to know more or get a recording from that. We take probiotics, prebiotics, which is food for our probiotics. Now we have a beautiful product called Daily Wellness, which is basically like the compost that really helps everything to breathe and survive and thrive in our microbiome. But I love that we take that whole approach into our smart weight management system, because when we reduce that inflammation, our bodies are actually metabolizing better. Guess what? Coupled with our fat burn that is targeted toward that visceral fat, we are really making a difference of cleaning and cleansing and actually replenishing and making a difference in our, our weight gain. So this is hands down my favorite product. I hate to say it, but it's Nootropics. It's my daily go-to for clarity, brain fog, just a little energy and pick me up that is sustainable, and it's not going to make me crash. I'm actually off coffee for, gosh, over 6 months now. So absolutely love, love, love Axio. And then our, this is kind of the silent killer, you guys, is the hair care and the face and anything you're putting on your body, because not a lot of people will pay attention to that. They'll just go to, their local grocer or their, so hopefully their health food store, but sometimes you got to really look. I urge you to get the app called EWG to really look at what ingredients are in your products, to know what cancer causing or possibly ill effects are happening on our largest organ, which is our skin. So when we have something that is rating of 1 to 2 on the EWG, it is amazing. So we have that, the health aspect, plus we have the science that is going into our cellular behavior again, both in our skin and in our hair. The stories are amazing when you start to look at some testimonies behind that. And then our pets, you guys, our pets don't have that beautiful, or that, I shouldn't say beautiful, but that placebo effect. And when you see them jumping around for joy and they're 10 years old and they look like they were listless and on their way out, a minute ago, a month ago, and they are happy and healthy. Their coats are healthier. We have equine community that is huge, taking actually the human version because they're such large animals, but to bunny rabbits, my kitty cat takes it, you name it. That's like the heart of the health of our heart relies upon the love, and a lot of times that love comes from our furried ones. So this is the end of the talk. We're no longer supplementing our deficiencies, no longer chasing our tails. We are literally activating our pathways to control the aging and healing processes. And that's Dr. Brett Brimhall, again, one of the 3,000 medical professionals, from cardiologists to nutritionists to chiropractors to you name it, all in between, have joined arms with LifeVantage. So proud to say. So everybody also wants to know what's the bottom line. Here it is. It's $127.99 a month to get started on what we talked about today, which was our Tri-Synergizer. This is amazing. So, especially in this COVID times, everybody's kind of like budgeting here and budgeting there. I urge you to look at your budget to see if you can budget out something that's no longer serving you, that's $4.17 a day, and actually budget in something that is going to help not only the here and now of your health, but hopefully project that into your later years. I personally hope to do like Dr. David Sinclair and proclaims, which is live to 120 in a 50, 60-year-old mind and body. So I'm excited about that possibility greatly, but I don't want to live that old if I'm going to be just living in and out of a hospital or a care home, but rather I want to be vigorous and full of life and until my dying days, and I'm going to do everything that I can, and that's where my investment to myself comes in. If you're truly interested in bundling saving, not only for yourself, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this could help my family, this could help my loved one, this could help my immediate family. I urge you to look at our starter kits and packs is what we call them, because you can bundle and save. You can save up to 35% on this larger kit at $1,250. May sound like a lot, but that could last you and your family, a good 3 to 4 months, depending on how much you used it. You get to become the product of the product, which is amazing. And out of the testimonies that just naturally come to share, guess what? The reason why we offer you a little start kit is because that comes with samples, because 60% of our customers end up wanting to share and actually wanting to share so that they can make a couple bucks back to help to pay for the goodness in their lives. So if you're at all interested in taking it a step further, and you are a business-minded person, like I was saying, or know the benefits of actually having another income stream, which most of us do, whether or not we know it or not. You know, we're making a craft on the side and selling it, or you know, so many people were sewing these and you know the mask and selling it, and you know, most of us, I want to say a good 80 to 90% of our country, if not the world, has a side hustle. So knowing the benefits of actually pulling in an extra side income, and this might be up your alley to be mentored. You don't have to be me. You just have to share your story and invite them to this call, or a call like this, where people love to, like me, love to go down the rabbit hole. And then I end up going, hey, I could share this. So that was it, you guys. It's 3:06. If anybody has any like questions, please do let me know. I'm happy to answer any of them for you. But if not, we can certainly, I'll stop the live stream on Instagram. So if anybody has any personal questions, if not, please know that I'm always available, as well as so many other knowledgeable individuals on our growing team if they don't know the answers, they can get the answers for you. And we even have paperwork that you can take to your doctor if that's of any concern, you know, for you. But most of it is pretty darn impressive when you just start to trust in the beautiful design that our bodies are given. So anybody have any questions?
I do.
Yeah.
It's Israel. Can you tell me one time, I just need one time,
yeah,
how to pronounce your name first off?
Oh, it's like Smiley Kamaili is how I tell people. So
Kamaili.
Kamaili, yeah.
Okay. So question I had was, try to chat it to you, but I know you're presenting.
Yes.
What is the name of the app that you mentioned? I want to say EWG or was it AWG?
No, EWG. So environmental EWG. It's, you know what, environmental working group or something like that. So, but it's an app, or you can also do Think Dirty app. So the Think Dirty app is something that is truly beneficial, and that both of them we have great ratings on. Yeah, thank you, Sarah, for putting that in the chat. And it's just easy. Just type it up, and you can actually plug in anything. You can actually go to your local Target and scan something, and wow, it'll pull up all of it, tell you what's good, what's not good in the product. A lot of times things are hidden in fragrances. You got to watch out for that if you're talking about any skincare, hair care.
Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.